last week, I think it was week, but we went few PR today. Today, topics. Videos. Share a link. Mention that during the demos. Is there any demo today? I can like. We'll see. Topics on this video last week. So nothing special. Status. So what happened last week? We're not sure. One. Nothing. There. We did some triage and issues, PRs last week. On this one, main. Then one. So that first time contributor will come off randomly hitting rate limits.
Yeah, unfortunately, that still doesn't fix it, and we need to add a personal access token for one of our GitHub users, so it's not randomly hitting limits.
Or it be done on a schedule, like once a week.
That could. Well, let me.
If it's
I don't think that's an option for this because this action, what we run in the end here, is specifically something that should be triggered by a pull request because it runs for one pull request.
But otherwise, using the GitHub CLI, just list the pull request for the past week and then apply it.
Well,
the merge now.
We could do something like that, but it's not
it's
the
more complex.
issue. Yes, and it's not the issue is not that we are using too many resources here, but that this GitHub token is basically a shared resource. What I just recently learned. So this is not. It's not about us doing too much, too many HTTP or API requests within this action, or within a day, or within whatever, but rather that everybody running GitHub Actions uses this.
Still, because probably, so yeah, it's just when it's merged. Okay. So it's once per merge PR. Open, closed. So see, it's like it's also running when the PR is open and closed.
Yeah, because this adds commands for first-time contributors for pull requests in both cases. When it's closed, that's also important because then it invokes adding the contributors to the list of contributors in the documentation page.
Okay, it didn't work. So to be continued.
Yep.
I didn't test for this cache wrapper to be sure that we don't dispose, for instance, inside this wrapper. We first have to go to the wrapper. Deprecate SiteOwner permission, retain administrator as system role. This has been merged, which means when you get this update, the SiteOwner permissions won't be used anymore, and the current administrator role, if you have it with the SiteOwner, is becoming a special role, the role that grants everything, like the SiteOwner was doing. So it's no more based on the permission, but based on a role, which will be named administrator by default, or could fall back to SiteOwner or administrator 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on what you have. But for most users,
SiteOwner, and SiteOwner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. And for most users who haven't changed or used our standard recipes, it should be called administrator. What else, Mike? Documentation. There is a setting. If you don't like the administrator role name, before you start the migration, you can give the name you want here. Your site setting. And all the users, by the way, you had, no, I think it doesn't change anything for users unless there is a new role, and then in this case, they will be assigned to this role. I don't think it changes anything for users. What does it change for users? Migration?
It doesn't. The only thing, if they're explicitly checking permissions for SiteOwner, they need to change, because that SiteOwner is not going to work anymore. But they'll get a runtime warning or a build time warning.
Because it's deprecated, the permission in question has been deprecated. And where is the migration? Yes. So that's the thing with the roles and the users. In the background task, it says, if you have an admin role,
This only have effect only if the administrator site by default does not have the site permission, which should be a very rare case.
okay, so if there are more than one roles with a site owner, then move them to the new single admin role in the site ownership. Or you add them to this one. Okay. Cool. Thank you. That was hard. Good job. Does it work?
Find out.
Is it deployed in production? I mean, you should know.
I haven't deployed it yet. It better work.
But if that works, we will find out. We know. Patching Dependabot updates per directory just also to prevent some limitations.
Unfortunately, that didn't work though.
Didn't work, yeah, we see.
So I reverted it, and I tried another workaround in a later commit, which still doesn't work, and I'm in touch with GitHub support because what we currently have is that there's only a single project that Dependabot processes, supposedly, but it still times out, or rather, it's still unpredictable. It behaves like it would be over its limits of 150. They call it manifest, which is basically CS proj files in our case. So I'm waiting on their replies. But currently, it seems that we simply can't use Dependabot because the project is so big, regardless of what we try to configure.
Please check my branch here then, because while you were doing that, I was also trying that, but then I thought you would fix it, so I stopped working on that. So if you check this branch, this is a workflow, update packages, which can be scheduled. And what it does is check out the project, install the tool .NET outdated tool, runs it, which will update the packages config the same way as Dependabot does, but it's a .NET tool. And then does a commit and creates a PR with the changes. If there are some changes, this is what this test is doing. If there is no dependency update, then just does nothing. Otherwise, it creates a PR. It failed because I had an issue with that branch. I have an issue with this branch, I don't know. Yeah, that's why I was trying, okay, let's try to do a checkout main or checkout origin main. It didn't work, so I stopped there. So I need to try that, yeah, so that's the idea. To do the same thing as Dependabot, but using the .NET tool. That might work.
Yeah, most possibly we should do that. I will get back to you under the issue because I'm still waiting on GitHub support, but most possibly that will be the way forward.
I made it. There is a branch, and because I was able to run it once, I don't know how you can invoke this workflow without merging it. So you can try the workflow when you do a change because it's scheduled. So we can invoke it. There is Git, the GitHub CLI workflow invoke, and you can pass a custom branch and the name of the workflow, which in this case is updating the packages. You want to try that. And if you want to change it, feel free to push on the branch. So if you do anything.
All right.
If anyone wants to try that. The last issue I had was with checking out main as well, or creating a commit out of main. So I had an issue with that. So that's the only thing. Okay. So that's your attempts to fix, or at least to fix the sessions here, and the attempt to fix the bot. Update README to prevent issues between C and blazor routing. I want you to go listens for request and slash. What it means when the site needs to be configured, setup maybe, I don't know. And slash the setup with blazor. Okay, well, page with page slash home. That's weird. What would listen that if you don't have a handler that handles that? Maybe disable a feature like the home page feature or the setup feature that does that by default, and then there will not be a conflict. Because otherwise, there's always something listening to that if these are not disabled. interesting, at least for people who start the project, they know how to do some blazor app. Add deployment for Microsoft account. What is a deployment? Deployment source. I think we try not to do this kind of things, or at least we should try to do this kind of things in case we change the name of the class, then the value stored in that database or in the file system is invalidated also, and there is no way to fix that. So this should be constant, like if it is, unless it has some meaning here, but I don't think it has. So if it's
I don't disagree with you, but just one thing here, this is not a database thing. This is coming from a file.
Yeah,
so
and I mentioned database or file system. So it's serious content, so we can't change it dynamically like this because we won't be able to reload whatever was stored. Yeah, so that's we have to use a class name here. We do have lots of JSON objects with class names, for instance, part names, bin names. That's how we store the content items. But that's expected that if you change the name of the part, the type, then no, you will break some content items. In this case here, this is a settings class, so I don't think we should rely on this name. Maybe not in this case. We do that again for settings, for the site settings, because we store per type. But these ones, I'm not sure. So if Microsoft account settings is the correct name, it should be hard-coded. And still, it looks like a weird name for settings. Maybe settings would be better at name settings. Step, Microsoft account step. You to configure that. That's this new file. Okay, separating the file.
He moved that to a new file. Yeah, correct.
I was looking after, but it was before. Title for the views, the export button, beautiful. Fix Docker file, someone reported that they could not build the Docker file, and there was an issue, so now it's fixed. This line I removed. I assume this one was to be able to load this value, and this was the case, but there is another way to do that, not to depend on any Golang define, but just to call platform when you import that, and then we'll have the values that worked. The issue we had, or the issue that it didn't work, was that before it was copying the source app and the directory big props, and it was not copying the packages props. So this is fixed by that. Then fix the warnings, made some folders adjust, and it's working. Also remove that because what we saw when we tried to debug it on Thursday, we could not copy this file, and we don't understand why. It's because the Docker ignore had exclude everything but this thing. I'm like, why? So it's removed. We just ignore anything that we do not want, like app data and bin, and we just copy what we need, source and things. The Docker ignore file would have been good here if we had to copy everything, and then the Docker ignore would just ignore things. But I think it's better to be explicit and say what we want to copy, where we want to copy. So Docker file is back. By the way, with the .NET 7, maybe at least 8 for sure, you don't need a Docker file. There is a Docker .NET container or Docker .NET publish container. There is a command in .NET that will create a Docker file, build the project, deploy everything, all the things you want, and create a Docker image from the .NET app, which is doing exactly what this file is doing. Fix your 2.1 with notes. Okay. Why is that? You got a bad copy paste?
No, because with the way how we have the release notes lined up, is that the first node looks like line 111, it's missing a hashtag, but that first the title should be the feature, and then any changes we have related to that feature, we list it right under there. And then line 115, that's where we start a new section for like new added features. So I took it out because that's not a new feature. I moved it up.
Okay, so I understand that this one is moved, but what about this line which was added?
Yeah, this was added because
okay,
it's related.
It's related to that.
Correct.
But still,
but line 111 should be it looks like it's missing a hashtag right there, but yeah.
Okay, it should be sub 11. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. That will be an upcoming subsequent. Now, creating projects. Don't use Object.Merge in Azure deployment source. Someone is so there is an issue with the merge.
I don't know what the question was. You broke up. I don't know if it was only me.
1, 2, 1, 2. Anyone else?
I hear you. I just don't know what you said.
I'm back. So this one. Don't use JsonObject.Merge. Add transient. Yeah, let's do the same thing. Interesting. See the same thing, but not even try adding library.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Instead of just having enumerable, I think at some point maybe it was necessary to do that. So try add enumerable. And this one, I don't know if it never worked in the past, but you know, it couldn't have worked in the past.
Maybe since we changed at some point merge and stuff.
Yeah, possibly.
The object. This is JSON. Oh, this is syntax JSON. But it works now. And again, what is that? Earlier, I tried to say, don't show me the notifications, and that it did something, I don't know, like focus time. Okay, so this is done. And I almost pinged Antoine this morning when I saw there was a new version of .NET to say, will you update that? And I did. So now it's using the latest .NET runtimes, ASP.NET Core. There are some security fixes. That's why we are using a version of ASP.NET Core on runtime. And it also means we can update the net9 branch with RC2, which I haven't done. That's it. Questions, comments, demos? Yeah. Oh, videos. Where is that thing? What's the URL? Where is the harvest video? Do we have a link?
Zoltad added a link in the chat.
So we can add it in the chat. Thank you. So I will paste the link in the meeting. Paste the link in the meeting. So where is the meeting here? Comments, we have that. So Benedek published.
We should probably tweet these, like tweet them or something.
What?
We should probably tweet about them and
We
just
did.
so we can get them. You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't use Twitter, so I don't know if you did or you didn't.
Yeah, Benedek asked me, so I know Benedek was managing the deployment. Some people probably had helped him to do the videos. Videos playlist. Las Vegas. What's in there? How do we know? How do we see the playlist with all the videos in it? Faster. So we have all the videos for now. The keynote, Community World, authentication, content warning. 10 unavailable videos are hidden. So I should. It's just about saying we can show them because they've been reviewed. I think Benedek asked me if we could show mine. I'm like, yeah. There is nothing looking for that, so we can. Nice editing. Look at that. Switching between also sometimes the camera and well, this is the camera. And code too small. Can't read. Mike, you need to record. Can't read that.
Right. Also, the sound was terrible for my session
Well,
because we didn't have the capture box yet.
Well, there are two things. First, in the morning, there was nothing. Then in the afternoon, Dr. and Benedek put up the little microphone here in front of the desk here, which was recording still the ambient audio, but closer. So it's better for the next sessions. And third, what we should have done if we had the cable or the permission was to plug this thing that was on the desk, to plug it on the output of the soundboard. So that would have been perfect. But it's not the case.
Yeah, I think that was documented somewhere for next time. So when we do next one, it should be hopefully better.
Yep. At least the fact that it was there, it was connected to the recorder of the video, which means the audio and the video here were on the same track, the same file. So that might be easier also for editing. But at the same time, you had to import that and sync up. So the third track would not have been a big issue, actually. The issue I had last time I edited the video, so probably in New York, was that I had to resample the audio and the video because they were not on the same bitrate or the same time scale. And after like 10 minutes, they would be not synchro anymore. So I had to process the video with FFmpeg to change the bitrate so that they are actually in sync. There was something like that because or maybe it was between the video feed and the recorder, or maybe this one was 25 and this one was 24 image per second, and at some point you had some synchronization. Same thing for the audio. But yeah, that's why you appreciate when you see a video like this that it's done, because you know all the things behind, all the issues, transitions, inserting slides, moving the different sources, reviewing everything, merging when you have cuts like the seeker. Yeah, all these things. Shapes, I recognize that's a shape. You should escape that. We need to escape that. Escape. Okay, cool. Thanks, Benedek and folks, for the videos. What else? Videos, the demos, PRs.
I can share my progress about our shortcut gallery.
Please.
I'm going to share my screen. Up. I created 2 repositories, one to store the modules, the markdown files about the modules, and one for the themes. And I did what you suggested to change the GitHub action of the gallery website to include those repos in the during the deployment. So there are other steps to clone and copy the modules in a specific folder where it's supposed to be, and a few steps to clone and copy the themes, and the result is the same than before, but you have two separate repositories, so anyone that would want to make a site about the listing the modules and the Orchard core themes would be able to do it.
Yeah, my feedback was when we showed that first, it was already great, but I was worried that people would be confused between what's the website, what's the content, and just split the two, such that we are not bothered technically by what technology is used to drive the gallery itself. And then people who want to provide their own new modules and themes can just go to the main folder. So then correct the different repository. It looks super nice this way. So if we want one day to work on a new gallery, or if someone wants to do that, or if someone wants to use your gallery website, but point to a different repository containing the different modules, like their own thing, then they could, or we could have the same source code drive different websites, because now we can check out different repos. I think it's good. One thing though, why do you do too much all the time? So when I said that, I'm like, create a new repo for the content.
Yeah.
And then you created two repos.
Yeah, because I want the structure to be exactly like that. One for the modules, one for the themes. And if I mixed them, there will be
why not two folders? It's on one repo, a modules folder and a themes folder. Super easy for the content managers, because you either create one in the modules, or you see it's the same thing as the repo.
Because when I copy it, it would be
not an excuse.
So I'm going to show you again.
You can check out the repo.
I'm copying the modules in this folder.
I know, but we need to think outside of the box. Why don't you then check out the only content repository, which has two folders, modules and themes?
Yeah.
And then you copy the files where you want.
Okay, I get what you say.
So this will be simpler, because one repo for everyone. So they will just, you want to add an extension, go to this repo. Is it a theme? Is it a module? Then create a PR for the folder.
Okay, I will see what I can do. It will be simpler.
It won't be hard for you to just delete one of the thing. You can call it modules if you want only, or extensions, or whatever.
But then when I test it locally, I have the main website, and then I copy the two repositories. I clone the two repositories like this, and that's also why.
Yeah, but you can clone it in the main folder if you want, in the root. Okay, like if you have one single, so you have the static sites repository. The GitHub action will just clone in the temp folder. You can do git clone.
Yeah.
In a folder, you call it my temp folder, and the static sites won't care at all, right? Then the next step is copy my temp folder /modules to /src /content/modules. Same thing with themes. And then you can even delete the temp folder and say, okay, delete that, and now deploy.
Yeah, but when I want to test it locally,
that will work. Ping me if you want in Skype, and I can look at it with you when you have an issue. See.
Okay, we'll discuss
that will work. Yeah, cloning, checking out, or copying, same thing. So I'm sure it will work. It'll be perfect. Real-time feedback. Last time we talked about it, I think you had to You know, something, no?
Sorry,
You
what
have some
was it?
feedback about it, like comments, like concerns?
Yeah, I actually voiced these in the repository. So I'm coming from a maintainer standpoint, like somebody who wants to publish extensions here, and I just would like to minimize the maintenance burden, so having to update the content for our extensions here, and of course for everybody. So I wouldn't include the like version numbers here. So if each time you publish a new version of your extension, you shouldn't really have to update it here too, because well, it's out on NuGet anyway.
I think that's okay to not have the section, and I think my idea with that is we had the issue with Orchard 1 that you would have an extension and it will not work with the version of Orchard you have because it's not written anywhere and there is no feedback. So I think it should work if you don't provide anything because we don't want the maintainer to have to update it all the time. So that's good. But at the same time, what is great with the fact that it's on a GitHub repository is that anyone can edit that and say, this doesn't work with this version. So this way they could say, cookie consent package 2.2.0, Orchard version, nothing. Or a note like doesn't work or something like that, or doesn't work, you know, to the on WordPress, I think they have that you can say that something doesn't work with something. Like consent 2.0 doesn't work with Orchard 1.8. It could work, but sometimes it doesn't work. So at least a way to be able to say it, but not make it mandatory. That's your feedback. Because you don't.
I think that's why I think it will be much useful to access that data from the repository if possible, like from NuGet, along with the README file.
How would we do that?
Yeah, my concern here is also that we have this information in NuGet, or also version compatibility, by the way. So, well, having to duplicate it here is a chore, especially if you have more than a handful of extensions.
I don't believe it. You know, it's compatible with what's in NuGet. It shows what it links to, but it doesn't say it doesn't work or it works.
I mean,
the version itself would tell you.
For instance, you have consent 2.0, which works with Orchard 1.8. It happens that consent 2.0 also works with Orchard 2.0, but NuGet won't tell you that. You can tell it on your own website saying Orchard consent 2.0 works with 1.8 and works with 2.0 because it doesn't use anything or nothing is broken in 2.0 for making it not work. But NuGet won't tell you that. Or the opposite, like maybe consent 2.0 only works with 1.8. So how do you know it won't work with 2.0 because it doesn't?
Can't you in NuGet specify and say this thing would only work in version 2.0 all the way to less than 3?
No, you can see what versions you want to reference, which means it's fine, but people never do that. Like when I reference system.text.json, I don't say include system.text.json 8.0, comma 8.0.4. You never say that. You expect that everything above will work. But for packages like Orchard, this is not what it means when we reference a package. It doesn't kind of sad, but yeah. Well, at least if this metadata, so it's not technical, it's just informational. Okay, it's just for module maintainers and also module users to be able to inform that something doesn't work or works with something. And this way, when I go in the gallery, it's like, oh, I found cookie consent, and I use Orchard 2. Which version should I use? Or which version can't I use? Or the compatibility matrix. So if it's just informational and it's not mandatory, then I think that's fine.
Yeah, if it's not mandatory, of course we can have it there. I personally wouldn't update it because, well,
burden, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would also put the reference to the README file. I wouldn't put my I was to document my changes, I wouldn't put them in here because every single time I want to update my README file, now I have to go and update this thing too. So I would just put a reference to the README file of the NuGet package, for example, and then if you need more information, then just go get it from the README file.
Yeah, you can edit it in the main description, in the body of the Markdown file. You can do whatever you want. So,
but Mike doesn't want to. Oh, I see. You could put a link to the NuGet. I see.
Yeah.
I see. You could say, please read the README on the thing which is kept up to date.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's better than just having.
Yeah, because otherwise, every time your README file changes, you gotta have to go and update this right here every time you have something. So which is kind of
it should not change. Yeah, that. But also, then users can also add more stuff in PRs for everyone else to see because you don't care about some information that they care about, like this competitive metrics, and it's open source, so people can submit a change. We can tag you like, hey, Mike, what do you think about that? Is it true? Is it false?
You know, the website packages.org, they have a way of fetching the repository. So they fetch I think GitHub. They pull the README information and also all versions from there. Yeah, but wondering if we have a way to fetch.
Sure, like in the action that Antoine made to build the static website, you could also fetch more data from other things, because today is fetching the modules and themes from a repository using Git clone, but we could also do some web requests to fetch any data we want to add to things from NuGet, from everywhere. It's just after the complexity to build a static site. But if someone sends a PR and adds some more information to the packages automatically, that's totally doable, I believe. It's just more things to implement. And that comes back to the comment from Zoltan, which was, let's put the content first so people can provide content and think about the static site later. And then we can take Mike's suggestion, which is, let's add more sources of metadata, not just the modules.md, but you get GitHub repository, because we have the GitHub repository. So maybe we can find some things from like stars. Like we could, when we inject the module entry with the MD file, we could even then add the stars from the GitHub repository, if it's provided, to the static site. You know, all these things that can be added later without having to do anything. So that's just one more line in the workflow file to add data. The logo, everything that can be extracted, if we can, then yeah, probably we should, instead of having the user to provide it again. Good idea. Just the web HTTP request, extracting and accumulating data, aggregating data. And the workflow could even then commit the changes somewhere such that the next run will say, I already have the data there. Do I need to fetch it again? Or some things like a sort of a cache, like the icon or the stars, if we don't want to fetch it every time there is a PR. Yeah, it's just a big script, so we can do anything, I think, here. But that looks good. Okay, so yeah, so as soon as I think you have a single repo, we should communicate it so that people can add their. You added a lot of them, I think, by yourself. But if we can send the message to the owners of the modules we know about, that would be nice that they start contributing.
Okay.
Do you have any contribution from anyone on your repo on the MD files? Like, I don't know, Isham, H.
No, I asked to Zoltan to make a test at some point, and I included some modules from HUK and from Isham. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
just for to have a few dozen of examples for each modules and themes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Are we done?
I think so.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
See
thank
you
you.
on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
guys.
guys.
Bye bye.